please come off mute for a moment. I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions. There is no wrong answer. It's only going to last for about 30 seconds or so. Unmute yourself on the count of 3. Here we go. Number 1. Is this car likely slow or fast?
Fast.
Okay. Yep. Is this hot or cold?
Cold.
Brilliant. What's happening here?
Proposal.
Yes. Do you think these two people love each other? Cool. There's no wrong answer. Does this person take pride in their appearance?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Which restaurant has more expensive wine?
Left. A.
A.
Where is this?
India.
Cool. What does this mean?
Wi-Fi.
I.
Absolutely. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I wanted to reaffirm the fact that we live in an at-a-glance society. So what our learners want to know is they want to figure the information out as efficiently as possible. In order to do that, we want to find the simplest way to communicate the information. For example, I'm sure you have heard Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Yes, yes. And it's not easy. It's not easy to be simple. However, we look for simplicity and specificity in our learning materials because it demonstrates proficiency. So really smart people have learned to say complex stuff simply and specifically. Where does this play a role in L&D graphics? Well, visual communication is a modality to help communicate information simply and specifically. And it's not an easy lift, meaning it's a pretty heavy lift to turn balls of narrative or content into effective visual communication. Well, we just recently, in the last, 3 or so years, had this giant wave of AI enter into our way of doing things. So I'm going to share with you 3 truths about AI in the world of visual communication, knowing we live in an at-a-glance society and good visuals are simple and specific. Those are things that we need to understand. That's the foundation. So the very first truth, if you will, is that AI is ubiquitous. It is going to be woven into everything that we do. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in our refrigerators. It's going to be like the Internet of Things. It's just going to be part of how the world operates. So with that in mind, understanding this, the first truth is that L&D professionals who embrace AI will thrive. Now, the antithesis of that, or the opposite of that, is that AI professionals who don't will not thrive. It's kind of like when Adobe Photoshop or PowerPoint or any great tool that you're using came out and people ignored it, they certainly lost efficiency. AI at its core is a friction fixer or an accelerator. So why wouldn't you embrace a friction fixer or an accelerator? That's what AI is. So AI professionals who use AI will thrive. I mean, L&D professionals who use AI will thrive. Number 2. So number 1 is, hey, use it. It's going to be everywhere. You might as well embrace it because it's what it is. And there's no, I'm behind the 8 ball because I'm behind the times because I didn't start using it. No, it's evolving so fast. Even if you learned how to use it 3 years ago, it's really changed. Like AI prompting isn't as critical as it used to be. So number 2. In order to understand number 2's truth, we want to look at it critically. So an AI need might be, hey, can I make a successful layout for my L&D content? The answer is no, not by clicking a button. It can't just do that. It can't just upload content and instantly have a final thing. In my experience, can I make a successful graphic without any human intervention? Here's my text, good luck. No, it can't. It can't. Make a successful infographic. No, it's not there yet. It might never be there, but I'm not going to debate that. But right now, and I use a vast a sea of tools, AI tools. Can it make a successful slide? No, not without you being involved. Can it make a successful presentation? No, definitely not. Can it make a successful animation? No, not the same quality and value that had been done by a person. Can it make successful L&D design in general? No, not out of the gate by default without your involvement. However, if I say, can AI help me do these things? The answer is absolutely yes. And to understand integrating AI into our workflow, it's really important that we understand two fundamental elements of design when it comes to creating graphics or visuals. One is that that there are raster and vector images. Vector images are made up of math, which means that if I were to zoom into this, it's going to maintain its integrity. It is resolution independent. It's being created by the CPU, by the computer itself, and it is infinitely editable. So I can change things. It's going to have very low file sizes. So I can click on something and I say, hey, I need to change the color. I can change the color immediately. So vector-based assets are typically going to be files like SVG, EMF, WMF, AI, EPS. Know this is in your handouts. So you don't have to remember all this. This is in your handouts. A raster image, on the other hand, is made up of pixels. It is not resolution independent. It's resolution dependent, larger file sizes. And when you zoom in, it looks pretty bad. It's not editable the way we think of editability. Those are going to be PNG or PNG files, JPEGs, TIFFs, or GIFs. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because most AI tools are going to be raster based. There are only a few vector based tools out there. That's going to change, but right now there's only a few vector based tools out there. And as far as the ones that are most adopted, it's Firefly in Adobe Illustrator. That is the most adopted AI vector tool out there. All right, so let's put AI through the test of communicating or educating my audience. So in a workshop, I was facilitating a session about what's called DevSecOps. It's a very specific visual vocabulary to communicate the concept of something called DevSecOps. So this, if I were to Google it, is the visual that represents DevSecOps. This summarizes at its core the interoperability of development, security, and operations working together harmoniously infinitely. So it's that figure 8 thing. So the Google knew this. The Bing knew this. And if AI, some of them are, some of them aren't, were trained off the internet, it too should know this. However, not always the case. So the first tool I'm going to talk about an AI-driven tool. There are 3 classes of AI tools. There's AI-driven, and we'll go down from there. So AI-driven is AI from the ground up. So AI-driven Midjourney, this tool is $96 to $1,152 annually, and I happily pay my subscription for this. So I asked AI, can you make a DevSecOps graphic? And this is what it gave me. Now, you and I know what a DevSecOps graphic looks like. It's that figure 8. It's not doing it. And I said, no. I need a DevSecOps graphic that's an infographic showing the processes involved. So this is what Midjourney made. Again, I can't use this in my educational materials. This is what I would call dancing baloney. It adds little value, if at all. Good infographics, good graphics help improve understanding, recollection, and adoption. This graphic right here is not synonymous with the visual vocabulary that is DevSecOps. It's not improving understanding. It's not improving recollection. It's not improving adoption. Maybe if I'm lucky, it would engage the audience a little bit more than just a sea of text. But I want my visuals to do more than just operate as dancing baloney. I want it to add value. All right, so that's Midjourney. Midjourney is one of the best raster-based image creation tools out there. Next is ChatGPT. ChatGPT, again, is AI-driven and uses the DALL-E engine for image creation. It is a multimodal tool. It costs $240 annually. I happily pay that fee because it really helps remove friction or accelerates my workflow. So I asked ChatGPT to make a DevSecOps graphic, and this is what it made. I hope you agree that it's not improving understanding, recollection, and adoption. Now, ChatGPT continues, just like all of the AI engines, to evolve and get better. So I said, no. I want you to create a DevSecOps like proposal graphic, something that would fit on a 6.5 by 11, or not 6.5, 6.5 inch wide graphic. And it said, okay, I can do that for you. And it created a 𝗵𝗃 pop graphic that's on a plate. Okay. I love it for inspiration. I love the inspiration that it gave me. I could, as a designer, I could play with this, use this, and create something very cool. However, I cannot copy paste this into my learning materials. I can't. It's not going to work. So I said, all right, that's fine. How about this? I created a DevSecOps graphic. I'm going to upload it for you, ChatGPT, and I want you to make your version of it. So I uploaded the graphic at the top of your screen. I said, hey, here you go. And then ChatGPT came back and said, you know what? Here is a really good DevSecOps graphic. Again, I don't know where the disconnect was, but the point is that it just wasn't a click a button, it's done, I'm good to go. It just isn't there. And there are people who are leading the charge, who are thought leaders in AI that I get to see at these conferences, and I get to talk to them. And they are creating the tools that we're using. And I'm so fortunate to go behind the scenes, to be up on the stage and talk to them when they get off, and I say, ask them questions. And consistently, what I get is that AI will not be replacing us. Someone using AI will, but AI will not be replacing most of what we do. And I'm going to keep going and lead you to the truth number. Once you see all this, I'll give you truth number 2. AI enhanced Copilot. So AI enhanced. So AI driven is one level. AI enhanced means that AI is woven into an existing ecosystem. Copilot from Microsoft is an existing ecosystem. Right now, it's about $240 a year. So I asked Copilot to create a DevSecOps graphic. This is what it created. Again, great for inspiration. I love the colors. I love how fun it is. I love a lot of the aesthetic choices it made, but I can't put it in my learning materials. It adds no value besides eliciting a specific emotional response, which is important in visual communication, but it is not my goal. My goal is not, I want to elicit a very specific emotional response. I'm done. It's more than that. It's to improve understanding, recollection, and adoption. All right, so let's go to AI enhanced Firefly. Firefly is the AI woven into the Adobe ecosystem. And it, depending upon which version of Adobe Cloud you have, it's $456 to $1,080 annually. All of these tools, to my knowledge, offer educational discounts. So please reach out to these solution providers for, if you're interested in acquiring them, for discount codes. So Firefly. So I asked Firefly to make a DevSecOps graphic, and this is what it made. Now, Firefly is creating vector-based graphics. Yay, that means that they have low file sizes, they're infinitely editable, but I don't know about you, but I cannot use this cartoon in my learning materials. It adds no value. It's dancing baloney. And I said, no, I'd like a DevSecOps graphic that shows a process. So this is what it created. I'm freaked out about the person's neck. I don't know what's going on with their neck, but it's kind of crazy. I'm guessing that's a tie, but it sounds like they should see a doctor right now. So we can see that AI, these high-end AI engines, aren't able, with the push of a button, to get us where we want to go, So that leads me to truth number 2, and that is that AI is part of the process. It's not the product. Again, AI is part of the process. It's not the product. Next, I'm going to show you exactly how to use AI in the real world. But what AI does not have, and arguably will never have, and if it does, then I'm more worried about AI taking my job. I'm more worried about AI doing something crazy. But is that AI lacks judgment. And that's a reductive way of trying to differentiate what AI can do and what it can't do. There is a lot of debate about the differences between how the human brain works and how AI works. I'm not debating that. What I'm saying is that ultimately you need to be the judge. You need to be the adjudicator of what AI develops. And that is what's going to make the difference, because there are certain nuances that you understand that AI probably won't, just because of your experience. AI doesn't have your experience. It doesn't have Jennifer's or Megan's or Sharon's experience. It doesn't have Jody's experience. It's not going to be you. It's not going to be you. Now, you can teach it to be more like you, but it's not going to replace you. So the next thing is rule number 3, or truth number 3. So truth number 1 is L&D professionals who embrace AI will thrive. Number 2 is it's part of the process. It is not the product. Number 3 is just like every other tool on the planet Earth, we have to know which tools to use and how to use them. So at its core, we have to know, the right tools the right way, And it's kind of like you wouldn't use PowerPoint to do page layout. You wouldn't use, let's say, Canva to do photo manipulation. You would not use Microsoft Word to make a presentation. So you have to know, it's in our best interest to know the right tools and how to use them. With that in mind, let's move on to the quote-unquote right way to use AI. And I am going to ask right now, we are going to put Midjourney, ChatGPT, and Firefly against one another. So someone give me a prompt that I'm going to place in the chat window. Somebody give me a prompt. I'm going to place it in Midjourney, ChatGPT, and Firefly and see which one gives us the best result. So go ahead and put a prompt in there. I'll keep an eye on it, and then we'll pop it in there and we'll watch it real time create these and fight it out. So here are real examples and tools. Real example and tools of how I use AI every day to make stuff. So this tool, full disclosure, I had a hand in creating. It's called 𝗿𝗲𝗄𝗏 Graphic. It is AI assisted. What I mean is I used AI to help me come up with ideas, to help me come up with visual elements. I used AI to help me come up with metadata, simple interrupted suture procedure steps. Got it. Here you go. Coming at you. Okay. Steps. Do you want a visual? We're going to visual. All right. So I am going to we're going to make this happen. So first things first, I'm going to go to Midjourney and I'm going to generate an image. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to, I apologize. I'm going to go to Firefly. I'm going to generate, let's do this, generate an image, and I'm going to say, hey, I want an image that shows simple and interrupted suture procedure steps. Copy. I'm going to generate. All right, that's working. Now I'm going to go to, we're going to go to, let's go here. We're going to go to Midjourney. Same prompt. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And we're going to go to ChatGPT. Same prompt. Image that shows. All right. So we are working. Ooh. Okay. Well, we're working on it. Let's see what happens. We are going to go to, it's all working. Let's go to, looks like Adobe Illustrator, Adobe stopped. Okay, here it is. Kat, could you just copy paste this into your learning materials? Probably not. Probably not. Not a chance. I agree, Kat. I agree. So let's see what Midjourney created. Hold on. Let's go here. Let's see if it's working. All right. So Midjourney, a little better. A little better. We're starting to get there. Although I don't know what's happening in the first box. That looks scary. It's like some symbiotic thing is jumping out and attacking the doctor. I'm not sure what's going on, or the nurse practitioner. So, again, it's good for inspiration, but it doesn't have the nuance and fidelity that I needed to have in order to use it in my learning materials. Wow, I don't know. Wow, what's happening? I don't know what's happening there. All right, so let's look at, all right, oh, look, well, here we go. Here we go. That's not concerning at all. So here we have, all right, so step one, step two. I'm not sure what's happening, but you might be able to work with part of these. I'm not sure. The point is, again, it's demonstrating that AI by itself cannot do this. So here's real world. Here's how I use it. So what I'm going to do, first of all, and this is a tool, again, full disclosure, I had a hand in creating this. I want you to understand how I use it for me and my clients. This is real world stuff. So by the way, this is a DevSecOps that I created with AI assisting me in creating concepts, keywords, and things like that. Massively different than what AI can make. In other words, you still need a human in the loop. You still need to be a part of this in order to make this stuff. All right, so the way I created 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 is, it is a library, a massive library of 12,000 editable graphics in PowerPoint. So you can just type in your words and it will look for visuals that represent it. And then you would port your words over to the graphic and customize the graphic to what you want. I had to make the graphics using AI to help me create individual elements or metadata or ideas. So what I'm about ready to show you, AI is not doing the animation. I, Mike Parkinson, I'm doing the animation. This is how I'm doing it. So just so you know, it's called morph in PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this slide. So I've got two of the same slide. On the second slide, I am going to reposition the elements any way that I want. Reposition the elements. Now, if I go to, I'm reposition them here. If I go to transitions and I click on morph, it will automatically animate the difference between the two slides. So the animations you're seeing, I simply did it in PowerPoint. The graphics you're seeing, I made them for 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏 using AI, and I'll explain it to you. So here we go. So here is the content that I want to turn into an infographic that packages the information in a way that aligns with my audience's needs. So here's the text. So I said, all right, I need some visuals. So I used AI to help me create elements or get inspiration. So the first one, we're using a journey map visual metaphor to communicate the information. This image right here was created by Midjourney. So Midjourney created the image. I finished it up by creating these assets and elements in PowerPoint. So that's another one. Same thing. I just created that same image and I simplified the content accordingly. Here's another one. Midjourney created the image you see in the background. I created the assets that you see in the foreground, the text, the icon, things like that. The same is true for this. Midjourney created the element in the background. I created the stuff that's over top of it. Midjourney helped me conceptualize something. What I want you to notice too as I go through this is notice how it's repackaging the same information in a way that changes your perception of the content. And you'd want it to align with your learners. So if I'm in a learning environment and I feel that the journey map metaphor would work better in improving understanding, recollection, and adoption, amazeballs. That's incredible. Maybe I want to use something different. Maybe I want to say that it's like traversing through time. Maybe I want to say something like it's traversing in time, but now I want to use my different color theme. So therefore I'm going to change it from sunshine to moonshine. Or maybe I want to show that it's a timeline. So what I did was I used AI to help me come up with ideas that then I converted into something using any graphics tool of my choosing. So you do want people involved. So ultimately what I recommend is that you create a graphic asset library either on your own or acquire one using something like go to Canva, use 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏. By the way, you can download a lot of this software for free. So you can get to ChatGPT for free. There's free versions of the tool. It's worth it, in my opinion, to pay the extra money to subscribe it. Build a Graphic is free to download. You just have to pay money to edit the graphics. So all of these tools are available for curated inspiration, if you will, immediately without paying a dime. And almost all of these tools offer educational discounts. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. But you can see how AI is a friction fixer or an accelerator. I used it to help come up with different ways of packaging our learning content so that it more resonates, so that it's more likely to be understood, recalled, and adopted by my audience. AI by itself can't do it. It can't, and I don't think it will anytime soon, based on talking to these people who are thought leaders in the industry. So you can see how changing how I package the information and being able to do it quickly, and AI helped me do that. This is real world stuff that we're looking at right here. Notice how it changes our perception of the content by simply changing the graphic type. So having a tool like Canva, like the Noun Project, like Midjourney or something like that to create assets, ChatGPT, build a graphic, whatever it is a way for you to quickly jump to where you want to go to test the efficacy of a visual. Here's another example, Midjourney and Photoshop, Firefly. Photoshop is using Firefly. So one is AI driven, one is AI enhanced. So I needed to create a cover for some training materials for the military. So this is what I had. So these were the assets that I had at my disposal. So I'm in Photoshop. I said, hey, I need to make this, but I needed a military person on a tablet PC. So I went to Midjourney and I prompted it. I said, hey, I need a military person. Specifically, I love being specific. Specifically, I'd like to see a woman on a tablet PC. And after kissing a lot of frogs, it gave me this image. So I extracted the image from the prompt, from the image that Midjourney created, and inserted it into my Photoshop file. I also needed a network operating center or a mission control center in the lower left corner, because that's the whole point of it, and it needed to be modern. So I prompted Midjourney to create a bunch of images, kissed a bunch of frogs, if you will, and then selected the one that I thought worked best and integrated it using Photoshop into my imagery. These are just some of the images that I went through to find the right one. So I prompted on the upper left corner, that's where I started. On the bottom right corner is where I ended, and ultimately I went up with this image. So it took a lot of runs at it for Midjourney to give me the element that I needed. So AI is part of the process. It is not the product. It's not the product. So this was a version of the final. So I was able to do that. All right, so we're going to jump over. I'm going to do something fun for you right now. We are going to jump over to this file right here. I'm going to show you another example of the power of AI and which tool does what best. This is super cool. So let's find, this is super cool. This is freaky. I don't even know how it does it. It's like magic. It's like a wizard. So oftentimes my clients will have an image, and that image does not take up the real estate I needed to, or it's not of the aspect ratio that I needed to do. So Firefly is really good at what's called generative fill. Absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to increase the width of my canvas, So I'm going to increase the width of my canvas. And I'm going to increase it to this big. I'm going to click generative expand, which is one of the buttons that you can click on. Hit generative expand. And what it's going to do by itself, it's going to say, oh, you want me to make the picture wider and fill in the missing pieces. So AI Firefly is hands down the best at this. Look at that. Oh my goodness. It just did that. So just easily, just with one click, it was able to create different variations of that image and fill in all the missing data. How's that possible? That is the power of using the right tool for the job, knowing which tool is best. So if I had to create infographics from scratch, I'm going to use something like Canva or build a graphic. If I need to create generative fill, if I need to fill in the background of something, I'm going to use something like Firefly. If I need to create single images that look photorealistic, I'm going to use ChatGPT or Midjourney. Knowing which tool to use is critically important to ensure that you're getting the maximum benefit out of these tools. All right, so one last thing I want to do before I open it up for questions is I want to quiz you. So I created a presentation for a person by the name of 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 in which image is AI generated and which is not. So if you don't mind, come off mute and I'm going to ask you which one is AI generated and which one isn't, to see if you can tell the difference. Come off mute and I'm going to ask you. Okay, so first of all, is this image AI generated or is it, and you can put it in chat, is it AI generated or is it a regular photograph? What do you think?
Regular.
AI.
Regular.
It is a regular photograph. Yep. It is a regular photograph. Is this AI generated or a regular photograph?
AI.
AI.
It is a regular photograph.
Hmm.
And the reason why I'm doing this is to show you how the lines are blurred right now. Is this AI generated or is it a photograph?
AI.
AI.
Here's how you can usually tell something is AI. It's not very good with fidelity. So look at things like eyes, fingers, toes. It will glitch on those areas. Everybody here, their eyes, fingers, can't see their toes, are in the right spot. So it is a photograph. Is this a photograph or is it a AI?
Photograph.
Photograph.
Unfortunately, Jody, you are wrong this time. It is a photograph. It is a photograph. All right, is this a photograph or is this AI?
AI.
AI.
It is a photograph. I know, right? I know. Photograph or AI?
Photograph.
Photograph.
Good job. Good job. Jody knew the one. Is this a photograph or is it AI?
Photograph.
Photograph. Photograph.
Kind of good at this. Getting kind of good at this. Is this a photo? Is this a photograph or is it AI?
Photo.
Yeah. Photo.
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 It is AI. I'm blurring it so you can't find the telltale signs that it's AI. Is this a photograph or is it AI?
AI.
AI.
All right, you're starting to pick up on my cues, huh? Look for fingers, look for eyeballs, look for toes, look for blurs. Those are ways you get around the AI hiccups. All right, is this a photograph or is it AI?
AI.
AI.
Look at you, yeah. So here's another way to find if something's AI, if it's too perfect. There is nothing wrong with this photograph. The lighting is perfect, her skin is perfect, her hair is perfect. Everything is perfect about this, meaning that it would be really expensive to create this image if you're a photographer. Yeah, super smooth skin, amazing. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. So is this a photograph or is it AI? You should be able to tell right now.
AI. AI.
Exactly. Imagine trying to photograph this. It would be very challenging to do, to get this amazing lighting and everything. It's blurred out to hide some of the hiccups. You can't see the details in the photographs. Is this AI or is this a photograph?
I'm guessing AI.
Photograph.
It's weird.
Does she look perfect to you or does she look like a normal human being?
She looks normal except for her hair.
Right. Exactly. So for that reason, it's a photograph. AI would make her hair perfect. Everything would be perfect. She wouldn't have any flaws. Nothing would be out of place. Is this AI or a photograph? Look for the telltale signs.
Oh,
AI.
AI.
Well done. Well done. Yes. I think this is the last one. Is this AI or a photograph? Don't let it trick you. There's a lot of detail in here. Do you see anything wonky? If you don't, it's a photograph. If you do, then it is in fact AI.
AI.
I.
Do you see extra fingers on anybody?
Mm,
There's one that has some weird fingers. No extras that I see.
It is in fact a photograph. Nobody has any weird fingers that I can tell, but I do see blurriness in here. So right there, her hand's a little blurry. All right. So same thing. This is a photograph. So we are blurring, quote unquote, blurring the lines, and the telltale signs are there. What's going to happen, in my opinion, I am not the expert on this stuff. My opinion is our brains will be because the brains have an amazing bull stuff detector. We don't like fake. We're not fans of it. So we are going to value authenticity more and more as AI becomes more powerful. We are going to be suspect of things that may be AI generated because it feels like we're being manipulated. So when I created the stuff for Build-A-Graphic, notice how I created individual elements that do not make you feel like you're being manipulated because there's so many hand-created elements juxtaposed with them. So what we're doing is we're saying AI can help, but I can't just lean on it completely because our brain is going to start to feel manipulated. That is my opinion. I have no evidence beyond anecdotal evidence. So keep that in mind. That's my opinion. So I left time for Q&A. So please ask questions. And I might not have the answers, but I bet you somebody on this call will. So on this webinar do. So does anybody have any questions about anything that I shared or wish I would have shared? Could you talk about copyright and AI? Yes, Lynn, there's a whole session we could do on copyright. So I'm going to oversimplify this to make it easier. So ultimately, in almost every developed country in the world, once you make something, you own the rights to it. You just have to prove you made it first. If you can prove you made it first, then you own the copyright to it. So if I create that something with AI, who owns the copyright? Well, depending upon which tool you use, Firefly, you own the copyright. So Adobe is all about rights protection. Whereas Midjourney and ChatGPT, once you make the AI, it's a little gray, meaning that according to my understanding, it's kind of public domain and or they own it. So, and you own it. It's just kind of weird. So they're trying to still figure that out. So back in the day when what is it? Amazon came out, companies like Penguin Books wanted to sue Amazon, and they said, you can't just throw our covers on your website. We didn't give you the right to do that. And so the way the law works is if the argument can be made that the end product is transformative, then it's allowed to be used. There's a lot of nuance here I'm not getting into. So the courts decided that Amazon's portal was transformative. I disagree, but that's my opinion. So I expect that when inevitably content creators sue these companies, the courts are going to say that this is transformative, and therefore they're probably going to side with the AI companies because it represents a lot of tax dollars, a lot of revenue, a lot of growth opportunity. So that is my opinion. Again, I am not advocating anything on policy or anything. That's my opinion. So that is a very reductive, basic conversation about AI from the perspective of user creation. Lynn, if you have a follow-on question, just ask. Lynn said, Jody said, have you seen any Photoshop filters or tools that make AI people look more realistic? I have not, Jody. I am certainly not, although I would argue that I'm an AI power user, there might be people on the call that have. If you have, please put it in the chat or unmute yourself. What are the biggest limitations of the current AI models? Depends upon, Ellie, depends upon what you're referring to. Like, for example, they're good at photorealistic, but not great. They're much better than they used to be. Text is a limitation. ChatGPT, the newest model, had OpenAI just had this revolutionary leap forward where their text fidelity is much more accurate and it's actually legible as such. it's still not soft or editable because it is raster based, not vector based. But with OCR technology, you can copy or select raster-based text and paste it in something. So you could use the background image and replace the text with something that's soft. So it really depends upon your use case, Ellie. Sorry if that doesn't answer all your questions. Not very good with charts either. Charts are very bad with AI. What do you, oh, next question, Andrea. What do you do for charts and graphs? Good old fashioned, use your Excel, use PowerPoint, use Word, use whatever graphing tool. There's AI graph tools out there. And what they do is they're kind of like 𝗲𝗬𝗎𝗓, where they used AI to create the assets that then are customized by your content. So the assets were created by people, and then the content drives. It's kind of like 𝗲𝗬𝗎𝗓, where you copy paste your content into this particular image that was created by a person. Andrea, I'm sorry, I don't have more accurate information. Again, if someone else knows more about graphs, I haven't found anything beyond that. Jody says, a cat says, Google Image FX. Ooh, can also make some great photoreal. Oh, thank you so much. And maybe including some folks' existing Google work. That is incredible, Kat. Thank you for sharing that. You rock. I greatly appreciate that. And if there's any other tools that you love, please, please, please share it. There are so many resources out there. I've used approximately, the last count I did, I used about 100 different AI tools, and give or take, you know, I kind of lost count, about 90, and then ultimately settled on Midjourney, ChatGPT. I've started with, I started using some others that I'm not going to name yet because I haven't put them through real world tests, but I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. I use Firefly. I've used a little bit of the Canva's AI. What Canva's AI is good at is amazing. What it's bad at, it's pretty bad. I've used, of course, 𝗲𝗬𝗎𝗓 because it's AI driven, or it's AI enhanced, or assisted, I should say. So I've used those tools. But again, I have a horse in that race, so take that with a grain of salt. Those are my favorites so far. All right. So we are now 3 minutes from ending. If you have no more questions, I was going to show you something. All right. So I asked AI to create for a client. A client said, hey, we need to create an image, an infographic that speaks to a battle space graphic to talk about strategy and things like that. So AI created this image, and it's cool at first glance. But, oh, Kat, you rock. I love you. Thank you so much for sharing that. 𝗶𝗂𝗃𝗃. Is it 𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃? Or I want to say 𝗃𝗃. I think it's 𝗃𝗃. So if you look at this image, it looks like fish eggs or something. I don't know what that is. And if you look at, if you look over here, we've got, I have no idea what these things are. It looks like it's, I don't know. It looks like it's something marking its territory. I'm not sure. Looking at these images, it lacks that fidelity that you're going to get from something that a human being assisted more with. It's great for inspiration. I love it. Dirty Bo from SpongeBob. Jody, exactly. But, you know, we're creating spaceships, and I don't know. So it isn't something that I can use. I have example after example, real world. However, what I could have used is AI to create. So for example, if I go to, this is real. So if I go here, I asked AI to create the background image. So let's find one. So I said, hey, can you create the background image? So this is what it created. Love this. Love this. But I needed to go in with the real content. I needed to go in with the other stuff. So yay for creating a background image. Dig on it. Thank you, Midjourney. I love it. But still, we need the human beings involved. All right, that takes us to just about the end. Lauren, is there anything else you want me to do before we close this out?
Not at all. I just want to say thank you for this session. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it, right? And you learned a lot.
Cool. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I think they're going to be doing the closing session very, very soon. What a great conference. Thanks again, Lauren. Thanks, everybody.